And at number 10, Lily Singh. Lily Singh started off as a YouTuber who gained immense popularity for her skits. Her career seemed to be reaching new heights every year, and she was getting more recognition in traditional media. But things changed for the worse when she got her own late night show with NBC called A Little Late with Lily Singh. At first, it was the most amazing opportunity that a YouTuber had ever received. And not only was she jumping into traditional media, she was also going to be the first bisexual woman of color to get a late night show. But once the show aired, it got terrible reviews. Even people that considered themselves fans of Lily's YouTube videos were forced to admit that the show was not good. The show was renewed after its first season, but did not make it past the chopping block after the second season. Lily is still working in traditional media, however she does not have the respect on YouTube or television that she had before her show debuted. And at number 9, Kathy Griffin. Kathy Griffin is one of the most controversial comedians ever because she doesn't shy away from touchy subjects like religion and politics. And it seems that her bad reputation has trickled over to some of her peers, and as a result, she's been banned from countless talk shows over the years. I think she might have broken a record from one of the most banned people ever. She's been blacklisted from The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, The View, Ellen, Today, and The Late Show with David Letterman. The story of why she was axed from Letterman is the most insane. While she was on the show doing a live interview, she decided to start undressing. She got so naked that the crowd, as well as those at home, saw her bra, stomach, and the fact that she wasn't wearing any underwear. And at number 8, Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant ruined his career in a number of ways. I think him cheating in public with a sex worker was probably the most famous, but his bad reputations on late night shows definitely did not help. Jon Stewart had such a bad interaction with the actor that he decided to ban Grant from his late night show back in 2009. Apparently Hugh was incredibly rude while he was on the show, cursing and complaining about pretty much everything. Hugh somewhat tried to set the record straight about things and admitted that he was in a terrible mood the day he was on set, tweeting, quote, "Turns out my inner crab got the better of me with TV producer in 09. Unforgivable. Jay Stewart is correct to give me kicking." So I mean, at least he knows that he deserved it. And at number 7, Joan Rivers. Near the beginning of Joan's long and successful career, she frequently appeared on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. But when Joan got her own show with Fox, Carson was not happy with her, and their friendship sadly ended. At the time, she made history for being the first woman to ever host a late night show. But unfortunately, the show wasn't very good, and it ended shortly after it started. And when Joan tried to get back on Johnny Carson's show, he actually rejected her and banned her from ever coming back on his show. At the time, this was a huge blow to her budding career, with some thinking it was the beginning of the end. The ban even continued when the show changed hands and Jay Leno took over in 1992. But thankfully she managed to find work elsewhere, and the ban made a little difference on her work. And at number 6, Billy Bush. Billy Bush was placed in charge of an interview with businessman Donald Trump in 2005, back when Trump was famous for shows like The Apprentice. But an X-rated conversation from before the interview was leaked to the public during Trump's run for office, and crazy enough, it hardly made a difference in his popularity. However, the interview seemed to derail Bush's career. In 2016, after the tape was suspiciously leaked allegedly by an employee of NBC, Bush was actually fired by the network. Not sure if they thought he was responsible in some way. According to Page 6, this may or may not have been part of the network's plan, though it was pretty clear that they were trying to derail Trump's presidential run. After the derogatory comments made in the tape were revealed, it seems that Bush is the person that paid the price. Halfway at number 5, Caitlyn Jenner. The infamous interview that Caitlyn Jenner did with Ellen DeGeneres completely changed the way the people looked at Caitlyn, and it caused many in the LGBT community to retract their support for her. The interview was so bad that Caitlyn was even blacklisted from Ellen's show afterward. In her memoir, Secrets of My Life, Caitlyn called out Ellen specifically for, quote, alienating her from the LGBTQ community by not allowing Caitlyn to come on her show. However, it's clear that Caitlyn alienated herself. During the 2015 interview, Ellen asked about Caitlyn's stance on gay marriage. Caitlyn replied that she was originally not for gay marriage many years ago, adding, quote, if that word marriage is important to you, I can go with it. And from Caitlyn's tone, it didn't seem genuine to Ellen. Ellen even pointed out Caitlyn's blatant hypocrisy. And at number 4, Michael Richards. The legendary Seinfeld actor got serious backlash after he called a member of the audience the N-word because this person was heckling him during a stand-up routine. In 2006, Michaels tried to revitalize his image by apologizing for the comments on The Late Show with David Letterman. However, it seems the apology was not taken well because his career took a nosedive after the appearance. Since this incident, Richards has only appeared in 2 roles, one on Curb Your Enthusiasm and another on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. And at number 3, David Letterman. Recently, David Letterman has received a lot of flack for his past interviews, specifically for being inappropriate while interviewing his female guests. But there is another overlooked controversy involving Letterman that almost derailed his career. In 2009, Letterman got on television and told his unsuspecting viewers that he was being blackmailed. Apparently, this person knew that Letterman was having sexual relationships with his coworkers and wanted $2 million to keep the secret to himself. However, Letterman did not participate in the blackmail and decided to air his dirty laundry out to the public. After working with the police, they discovered the person was producer Joe Halderman. Many were shocked that Letterman was sleeping with members of his staff, which is incredibly unethical because of his position of power. He seemed to get off the hook pretty easily, but that behavior definitely would not have stood today. And at number 2, Alan Carr. This one's honestly hilarious, but it was a bit too cheeky for many people's taste. While Kim Kardashian was on Alan Carr's show, they were speaking about her butt and why everyone believes that it's fake. Kim even showed Alan the pictures of the x-ray she got on the show, proving that there are no implants in her butt. Kim then decided to get a little cheeky and let Alan Carr actually grab her butt so he could feel if it was real. The moment was very brief and they both took it like a champ, but out of context it looks really bad. After the grab, Carr told Kim, quote, "If I had a bum like yours, I would walk into a room backwards. How honored are you when people say you have the best bum in the world?" Kim blamed it on her Armenian genes, pointing out that all her sisters are curvy. And finally, number 1, Andy Dick. Comedian Andy Dick got incredibly inappropriate while on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he was kicked off the show as a result. Dick was on the show the same time as Ivanka Trump, the famous daughter of Donald Trump. Throughout the interview, Andy got incredibly inappropriate with Ivanka, touching her leg out of nowhere multiple times. After Andy was getting too handsy, Kimmel decided to get his security to kick Andy off the show. And mind you, this was mid-interview, so the whole thing was caught on camera. The whole thing seemed to be kind of a joke, but it was clear that Andy went way too far. I'm sure many fans lost a lot of respect for him after that.
At number 10, Kris Jenner. Simply titled Kris, the momager of the Kardashian clan, starred in a 6-week test run of her talk show. Not only did it receive terrible reviews, but it was cancelled before it was even picked up. Frank Sisha, senior VP and president of programming at Fox TVS, admitted he knew by the time the test ended the show was not going to work. He claimed Jenner was uninteresting, trying to capitalize on her own name, and didn't have the ability to entertain. When the cameras were on, she looked like a deer in headlights. She had trouble reading the prompter, and the conversations she would have with her guests almost felt like she was trying to take some kind of survey with the most basic questions like where are you from and what's your hobby. He did praise her hard work, but ultimately the project was a flop from the start. In fact, the studio later received hate mail aimed towards Kris, claiming her show would have been one of the worst moves for the Kardashian family ever. At number 9, Martin Short. Martin Short has had 2 shows with his name attached in his lifetime. The more popular and longer lasting of the 2 was his 1-season talk show, The Martin Short Show, which was a simple late-night talk show with a few sketches between A and B. The short-lived predecessor was a sketch show of the same name. The premise was Marty playing himself in a sitcom about his day-to-day before going on stage as a talk show host. Very meta indeed. As you may expect, the format was a little weird. Studio execs were complaining that it felt like a rip-off of Seinfeld with a bit too much time spent on the talk show portion of things. After 3 episodes were filmed and edited, a test audience was brought in and the decision was unanimous. It sucked. At number 8, Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada and her husband Will have made headlines in the news several times over the years, usually for something bad like infidelity or face smacking, but earlier this year it was announced that her Facebook talk show, Red Table Talk, was going to be cancelled following several years online. The decision was made following the distribution company's shift to no longer produce independent content. Despite having a pretty solid slew of guests, the topics tended to drift into the too much information realm, with her sit-down with her husband Will Smith being one of the most revealing episodes. The show featured Jada, her mother Adrienne Banfield Norris, and her daughter Willow Smith discussing various topics, with mom Jada being the main host when it came time to the heavy one-on-ones. Jada herself has been shaded in controversy over the past few years as infidelity rumors seem to be brought up more and more. Her show was taken off the internet, and despite trying to find a new home elsewhere, it's looking like the show will never see the light of day again. At number 7, Sarah Silverman. Sarah is a very very popular stand-up comedian. These days, she's out on the picket lines of the SAG strike with her fellow performers, but a few years ago, she was sitting cozy on the set of her very own talk show called I Love You America. The show was aimed to give Sarah an outlet to poke fun at the current political and emotional landscape of the country. She would also from time to time bring on various celebrity guests to discuss their past and share stories. There was a lot going on for Sarah, whether it was connecting with firemen in Texas over making accidents in their pants or going on a blind date with a conservative lobbyist in DC. She was never holding back. The show was actually pretty well received among Sarah's fans, but the executives over at Hulu did not appreciate the content of the show. Apparently, big budget studios don't like it when you get politics involved. The show only lasted one season, including 21 episodes, and it was nominated for an Emmy in 2018 for Outstanding Variety Sketch Series before its untimely demise. At number 6, TJ Miller. Before being accused of misconduct by several women, Miller was on the hot streak starring in Silicon Valley and the Deadpool franchise. In 2017, he was given a green light to host an 8-episode talk series called The Gorburger Show, but unlike normal talk shows, this was meant to act as both a talk show and a straight-up TV series. Miller voiced a massive blue puppet monster named Gorburger. The alien takes a Japanese talk show hostage as he learns what it means to be a true human from various celebrity guests, including Tig Notaro, Larry King, Rob Corddry, and Reggie Watts. The show was created after the success of the short sketch series of the same name on the Funny or Die YouTube channel. In fact, it ran for 2 seasons on YouTube before being picked up for television. The concept was neat and had clearly been working online. However, the show was canceled after only 8 episodes due to the lack of star power they were able to land on the show. Some say the show was canceled due to the allegations brought against Miller, as the cancellation announcement came only 1 week after the news began to make headlines. At number 5, Khloe Kardashian. The Kardashian family have tried many tactics over the years to increase their never-ending flow of cash. Like when Khloe decided she wanted to do something outside of keeping up with the Kardashians while still being her real authentic self. An online media outlet called FYI greenlit a talk series starring Khloe and her celebrity guests indulging in drinks while chatting, calling it Cocktails with Khloe, but with a K of course. She essentially created an environment where she could be paid to drink and chat with her friends, which is exactly what the show became. Unable to secure a list of celebrities, she forced her family to appear on the show along with several of her reality star friends, and some of her sisters even forced their friends to appear, like Snoop Dogg and Chrissy Teigen. Khloe acted as a producer of the series and would regularly clash with basically everyone on staff about what direction the show would go in. The drama, combined with the behavior of Khloe behind the scenes, caused them to cancel the show, releasing only 14 episodes of the planned 23. At number 4, George Lopez. George Lopez was once one of the most bankable men around. His comedic talents and eccentric personality made him instantly entertaining, so much so that he was given his own sitcom in the 90s, but we're here to talk about his talk show, Lopez Tonight. The show first aired in November 2009 on TBS. It actually didn't feature all that many celebrity guests and mainly relied on audience interaction and George's wild energy. He did have some guests appear, with Kobe Bryant and Ellen DeGeneres being the most notable. Unfortunately, at the end of 2010, there was a massive feud between The Tonight Show and Conan O'Brien that caused him to quit the series and sign on with TBS to create his own show. This meant that Lopez would be pushed from a primetime 11 p.m. slot to the less exciting midnight spot. This move caused a steep decline in ratings, and as of August 2011, they decided to cancel the show entirely. The short-lived show will be remembered as a good time, as the decline only came from the time change. At number 3, Sharon Osbourne. A couple of years ago on the popular talk show The Talk, hosts Cheryl Underwood and Sharon Osbourne began to discuss the topic of race. They were talking about the recent firing of Sharon's personal friend Piers Morgan from Good Morning Britain over a series of comments he made live on air. Sharon went off and began aggressively defending her friend, asking Cheryl what Piers said specifically that was racist. She then went on to say that she was being put in an electric chair, and due to her connection to Piers, that she herself must agree with his statements. She went on to clarify that she did not support his comments per se, but she did support his right to free speech, but he used that free speech to say offensive things, so maybe don't support him. She then asked Cheryl over and over again what she had done wrong. What has she done or said? Cheryl then signed off for a commercial break before Sharon let out some choice expletives. When they returned, the tension almost seemed worse and the conversation continued to escalate. Not long after the altercation, Sharon was asked to exit the show to avoid further backlash. At number 2, Jay Leno and Conan O'Brien. In 2004, NBC announced that late-night host Conan O'Brien would be taking over as the full-time host of The Tonight Show, replacing Jay Leno in 5 years' time. When those 5 5 years passed and it was time to upgrade, NBC did not want to lose Leno to another network, so they gave him his own talk show in a primetime spot. The Jay Leno Show failed to capture an audience, and The Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien was not an instant rating smash. By the early 2010s, NBC had dismissed Conan and threw Jay back into the fold. Then Jay became public enemy number 1 because people thought he was the reason Conan lost his job. Oprah invited Leno to come onto the show to share his side of the story, and he didn't do much to save face. He wrote the entire thing off as a dramatic mess and then decided to play the victim card, claiming he felt sucker punched by Backlash. He also admitted that when he announced his eventual resignation that he was 100% lying to everyone's face. He then argued very passive-aggressively that NBC was right because under Conan's poor ratings, it marked, in his words, the first time in 60 years of The Tonight Show that it would have lost money. A poll was conducted on Oprah's website, and the consensus was that 96% of the audience hated Leno and missed Conan. Eventually, Leno was replaced by Jimmy Fallon, and Conan's show, Conan, was a massive hit. And at number 1, Lilly Singh. Lilly got her start on YouTube in 2010, but quickly became a very successful woman both in film and on television, being casted in projects like Bad Moms, Ice Age, and Dr. Cabby. In 2019, Lilly was offered a chance to host her own late-night talk show, A Little Late with Lilly Singh. The show was meant to be a follow-up to the popular show Last Call with Carson Daly, with Chrissy Teigen being offered the job at first, which she turned down, so NBC then gave the job to Lilly. The moment the show premiered, things started going downhill fast. While fans of Lilly were tuning in and loving it, anyone else on the planet was annoyed, confused, and a little bit angry. The first episode has been summarized by thousands of reviews as "White men bad, Lilly is bi, end of show."
Number 10. Will Smith. Kicking off our list is husband, father, and professional smack master himself, Will Smith Esquire. In season 3, episode 12 of the series, Jada invited her husband, Will, onto the show so that they could talk and speak openly and publicly about an alleged relationship between herself and the singer August Alsina during a brief separation in 2015. The singer claimed that he had to have Will's blessing to begin the relationship in the first place, despite the pair technically being separated at the time. Jada confirmed that the relationship did in fact take place, but they were on a break, you know? Like, come on, they were on a break. She denies that Will ever gave August permission, you know, but when referring to the situation as an entanglement, Will snapped and he made her correct herself, saying, hey, it's a relationship, okay? Say the word relationship. Now, while it may have been playful, seeing him get mad at all after 2022 just brings pure anxiety into my soul. So please keep calm and Will Smith, go on. Number 9, Leah Remini. Scientology, the gift that just keeps on giving. Well, in 2015, Leah Remini wrote a Scientology exposing memoir called Troublemaker. In said book, Leah recounts seeing Jada appearing at Scientology gatherings, recounting one instance in particular when Jada refused to participate in a game of hide and seek in Tom Cruise's backyard. Why does that sound like the start to just a really bad joke? That actually happened? That's something that happened? Wow. I want to go to Tom Cruise's backyard. When asked on Bravo's Watch What Happens Live for her side of the story, Pinkett Smith said that she remembered the story differently and that the game was more like adults innocently playing hide and seek with their children. But Remini says she took this as textbook fair gaming, which is a strategy with Scientologists, where they mock and then unrelentingly discredit critics of their religions. Now, on Red Table Talk, Smith explained a series of tweets defending her family and their religious beliefs, later stating that she actually grew up in a fairly liberal household and was allowed to explore all religions and just simply choose for herself which one she wanted to commit to. Now, Remini reminded Pinkett Smith of her high celebrity status and stated that Remini herself was interrogated for months by the Scientology community after just simply asking one member of the church where the leader's wife was. Like, not if she was alive, just how's she doing, you know? Things ended civilly between the two, with both agreeing that despite the feud and misunderstanding, that it's never too late to heal. Number 8, Nick Cannon. TV personality and full-time baby maker Nick Cannon has been open about his disdain for the series for quite some time, denying multiple requests to appear on the show. But after the show's cancellation last week, Cannon took to Twitter to express his pure joy, stating that the show was toxic and added that there was too much honesty to the program, saying that he just wants to mind his own business and asked that she does the same. He also claimed that if it weren't for his involvement with the program, that husband Will Smith would have never even thought of slapping Chris Rock, and that she somehow stoked the fire that fueled his rage that night. I understand the hate. Red Table Talk got into too much information territory way too many times to be a normal talk show, and Jada seeks out reasons to bring her family on there constantly. Now, I'm all for family drama, but not in front of a camera, being recorded to share for millions of people. I don't need the world to know that. Cannon is no stranger to family drama, but you can just Google that. Number 7, Tom Segura. Comedian Tom Segura was one of many celebrities to speak out after the now infamous Chris Rock incident at the Oscars in 2022. Now, I'll be paraphrasing here as I don't want to just quote a series of bleeps over and over again. That's no fun. So Tom tweeted, "This girl been bald. Jokes about it or her are fine. It was tame AF. You super sensitive about it? Buy a wig." Boom. Roasted. While Pinkett Smith hasn't herself commented on the posts, many fans were really quick to defend Jada, calling the comedian a bully. Now, fans of Segura know his style, and he kept to that, responding to the haters, comparing their sensitivity to a certain member of his anatomy, before posting a video of him landing in New York City and stating, "Just landed in NYC, you dusty ball-headed female dogs. See you at the show." Personally, I'd love to see Jada and Tom go head-to-head in a roast battle. I would make that a talk show. I'll watch that on Facebook. Number 6, Gabrielle Union. This beef started 17 years ago, a long time to hold a grudge, but what for exactly? Well, they don't know either. Jada brought Gabrielle on the show to address the fact that despite the two always crossing paths and being cold with each other, that they just couldn't remember why. Union called Jada on the phone, and they both attempted to piece together what exactly left such a terrible taste in each other's mouths. They tried and tried and tried, but they just couldn't remember it, and eventually Union agreed to appear on the show, where the two put the past behind them and they were just able to laugh it off, chalking it up to the drama of young divas. They had a good time on the show, just catching up, discussing life, and it actually turned out to be a pretty heartwarming episode. I know this is a mainly negative list so far, so let's all just take a deep breath, and if you haven't already, click the subscribe button so you can always be a part of the drama. Now, seeing as the show's editors have done their very best to make Jada look good, I will also be including some people who weren't on the show, but were or shared their feelings afterwards, or just had some kind of involvement with her. Number 5, August Alsina. Now, mentioned previously in this list, August Alsina is a rapper and the former love interest of the star of our list, Miss Jada Pinkett Smith. The two first met in 2015 at a concert for Jaden and Willow Smith, and the connection was instant. The two became very good friends as August was going through some substance issues, and Smith was the helpful hand he needed to get through. This would explain why over the time the relationship began to turn romantic. After Jada and Will took a brief break from their marriage, Jada wasn't just left alone. She had a shoulder to cry on. August. August told radio host Angela Yee this past June that he truly and really just deeply loved her. Unfortunately for August, Jada thought that it would be a wonderful idea to bring her husband on the show and air out their dirty laundry. So August was revealed as a secret lover, but the Smiths said that they've reached a level of unconditional love within their marriage. Before being painted as the enemy, August released a statement letting everybody know that I'm always going to be in the driver's seat of my life and control my own narrative. Just steer clear of Will's right hand. It's a bit dangerous. Number 4, Jaden Smith. Another member of the Smith family, Jaden is remembered by many as the little boy from the Karate Kid remake, but he's now mainly known for his rapping and singing chops. Jaden's been living in the shadow of his father from day one, being thrust into the limelight before he even hit double digits. With famous parents comes challenges. One of those challenges seems to be a lack of hugs. Oh, that's sad. The Smith kids are famously left to their own devices and have been financially independent from a very young age, meaning they've never really had to ask mom and dad to help buy something for them or even save money for everything because they've just kind of always had it. They make it themselves now. Who needs them? In an episode of Table Talk, Jaden confronted his mother on the way that he was raised, claiming that their style of parenting ruined his life and his ability to connect with people. Now, Jaden has constantly been a good soul in social media and is extremely loyal to his fan base, so don't worry, man, you've got a massive family out there. It's 1 million strong. Let's just not all try to hug him at once. Number 3, Khloe Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian is an American personality and socialite, according to Wikipedia. Present in the media for years, starring alongside her fellow family members of the hit show Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Khloe released a series of tweets a while back claiming that men blaming women in their relationships for all of their problems was invalid and hurtful. And while this is true, many have called out the star on her comments because of a famous interview from Red Table Talk, which is Jordan Woods. Jordan Woods came forward and told the truth about an alleged cheating scandal. The man in question, Tristan Thompson, claimed that Jordan performed a number of provocative acts, but she denies many of these claims. Despite this, Khloe publicly blamed Jordan for the entire breakup of her family and names her as the enemy every time. But during all this, Jada Smith just sat back and watched the drama unfold instead of having anything to do with it. So, yeah, that's kind of worse than what Khloe did. Just saying. Help. Number 2, Chris Rock. In 2022, Chris Rock was hosting the 94th annual Oscars ceremony, where he decided to make a little joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair loss. Immediately following the joke, which landed for everybody else in the audience, okay, Will Smith stood up, walked on stage, and just clocked Chris right in the face. Now, initially being seen as a planned joke or something between the two, Will then started shouting several times at Rock to keep his wife's name out his mouth. Chris handled the situation well, getting back onto the festivities and just kind of helping the night move on and making it seem like nothing happened. But after Smith won the Oscar for Best Performance, Rock took to social media to address the controversy and let everybody know that he meant no harm, and he felt the response Will had was highly extreme. He also claims that if Jada had found the joke funny, that nothing would have happened. In fact, moments before walking on stage, you can actually see Will Smith giggle. Like, it's almost like she whispered at him, like, get him, and it activated some kind of kill code or destruction code, and he just went for it. Jada posted several videos claiming that Rock was dragging the situation out too long and to put the past behind them, but I'm sorry, Smith family, there's no Men in Black mind erasers here, okay? Chris Rock can still hear the ringing in his ears today. Come on. Number 1, Cherie Fletcher. Let me guess, you don't recognize that name. Well, only hardcore Will Smith fans would, because Cherie is Will's ex-wife. Briefly married in the mid-90s, Will and Cherie were adorable together. They were regularly appearing at red carpet events, movie premieres, just adorable, inseparable, wonderful. But behind the screen, things weren't all peachy. It was revealed on an episode of Red Table that Jada Pinkett briefly partook in an affair with Will in 1995. Now, Jada claims that Cherie and Will were towards the end of their relationship and was simply, in her eyes, dating a newly divorced man. But she would later admit that technically that wasn't the case, and while Will was technically divorced hadn't really come into play yet, Cherie discovered what was taking place and went off on the couple. Not long after that, ended her marriage with Will Smith. And in 2018, the two got back together to speak candidly about the incident on Red Table. Definitely an episode worth checking out.